Commissioner, ladies and gentlemen, very few things. I have learned that cloud computing is not just another type of outsourcing, it's much more. This is what the panelists said, and they were very clear. We do have the technical solutions. Technically, the information can be much safer and much more secure if it is on the cloud, because the companies that are dealing with that are developing excellence in that field. What is still needed? This is the confidence, and this is the side of the policy makers to ensure the enforcement of the law, to ensure something that was very interesting to hear from the CIO of Lufthansa, not only how to enter but also how to exit the cloud, to ensure that all the sharing of data will mean sharing of responsibility with a very clear chain of responsibility and very clear interface for the users. And everybody is very much looking forward to see the European Commission's proposal on the cloud computing strategy. And we are sure that it is going to give a boost to this technology in order to use all the benefits that it might provide. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivalo. And now, probably you noticed that in all this clouds environment, we were only 3 women, and now the commissioner is the 4th one. But we have now Edith Sok, which is the 3rd woman in the debates. Now, the floor is yours.
Thank you. In the third panel, we discussed the public sector and the cloud computing, but you can call the panel with the other title that how you get cloud for the elephant and how to find the motivation for the elephant, as was described with Mr. Zinnerman. And the elephant means civil servant and its motivation and its merits and its borders with the regulation and the legislation and being afraid of the citizen. Control on all those issues and the citizens' critics. We had women in our panel, and I think it was very helpful. We have seen a wonderful angel have no space anymore with a lot of clouds. I think it was a very interesting description. And we have another panelist who said that on the longer term we have a blue sky and the one big cloud. Although I liked most myself representing the citizens here, the rainbow. We are not interested to see the cloud at all, and definitely we are not interested to see the thunderstorm on the longer term. We are interested to the rainbow, which means a very different colors with the interoperability, as the rainbow is interoperability, that the colors make it a single market for all colors, and I think this is how it has to look like. We have heard from the Estonian colleagues about the difficulties of the procurement, and then we have seen the first moving action from the Commission actually going for the first procurement by the summer, and I do hope that the first pilot trial on this procurement moving to cloud by the Commission will give inspiration to the 27 member states for a harmonized, cooperative and the consolidated action as it was required by Linda in the as a first speaker. So that was all, and now I think the job is easy. Let clouding the elephant.
Okay, thank you very much, and now the real one, the one we are looking forward to listen to, Commissioner Neelie Kroes.
Thank you all for being so kind. You got the picture that the Commission is looking up to Parliament. I was sitting and looking up. I was sitting at your feet, and that is nearby. Well, it's not a bad start for starting the cloud computing discussion, so to say. But to be quite serious, exciting things are at stake, and exciting things are on offer from new developments in cloud computing. And the main question is, how can we assure that here in Europe we get the most out of it? And therefore I'm speeding up to together with my people in DG IMSO and the members of my cabinet, to indeed present before summer, so not that long from now, a strategy in which we can indeed not only explain the technology, but also all those issues that are at stake when we are talking about the strategy. Already information and communications technology are huge. We are aware of that, representing half our productivity growth, not bad at the moment, so to say. And according to one new study, by 2016, the EU internet economy could be over 800 billion euros, over 5% of GDP. So worthwhile to do our utmost to get that. The cloud takes that further, no doubt about that. And in the 5 largest member states alone, over 5 years, the cloud could be worth, and again talking about euros, 2,000 for each and every citizen, and create 1 million new jobs too. When you look at how much the cloud could offer, this is no surprise for you and for me. But our businesses, especially the small businesses and the startups, can benefit from flexible, from cheap, and from tailored solutions. And without expensive setup and capital cost, as long, of course, as you don't have to get involved in extended legal discussions every time. And that is where we should do the job together, that it is not taking too much time at the end of the day in the next step, so to say. It is not just businesses who could benefit. In the UK, for example, quite interesting, the government expects to save 20% of annual IT expenditure through just harmonization, through harmonizing the software for e-government. If it's that easy, why not go for it? Scientists, researchers, too, increasingly need to share huge amounts of data flexibly, and the cloud gives them a new tool to do this. That's an amazing potential. We need to make sure we are taking full advantage. Already investing in ICT pays off better than most other kinds of capital investment. And that applies to political investment too. So if we put the effort in today to ensure the right policy, then we can make the cloud not something we lurch and stumble towards, but something we embrace. And make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, without action, there could be barriers in the way. And our extensive consultations with stakeholders have shown this very, very clearly. Potential users are seriously uncertain, if not confused. They don't know how their data will be protected, whether they will need a law degree to sign up for a contract with confidence. They are concerned about enforceability, about lock-in, about data portability. For example, 90% of cloud users have and would have no idea about who is legally liable in case of a cross-border problem. Meanwhile, in individual countries, I see national systems developing on national lines and leaving cloud data potentially locked within one country. Users, including, by the way, public users, should be able to benefit from access to the whole digital single market if it makes sense for them. And I want us to get this right. And I don't want those trying to get into the cloud to have to face obstacles everywhere they look. To resolve one issue, only to have another appear like the many heads of the Hydra. Rather, I want us to take a strategic and unified approach. And I don't want buying cloud services to be plagued by uncertainty and by rumor, nor something that requires expensive legal wrangling. You don't have to do all that when you buy a loaf of bread, nor should you when you buy cloud services. When it comes to public procurement, I don't want a tangle of incompatible public sector requirements pulling this still young market in every direction. Rather, I want a common approach when it comes to issues like, and it was already mentioned by one of your members, like standards, security, and lock-in. And that would be good news for the users of public services, good news for the taxpayer, and good news for stimulating this developing market. And I don't want 27 different ways to solve all those issues within Europe, creating new barriers within the digital single market. It takes too much time to solve that afterwards. So please, let's go for a clear-cut solution. And if our ambitions were limited, we might be perhaps content with data being locked up in a national fortresses. But with a European approach, we can make life easier for potential users, and maximize those benefits from the cloud. And that's why we are setting out a clear strategy on cloud computing. That cloud computing strategy will show how to overcome all those issues, creating an horizontal policy perspective on the cloud so that we don't take away with one hand the benefits we give with the other, and 10 million euro to start the new European cloud partnership is not coffee money. And that will develop common requirements for public sector, cloud procurement, and I sincerely hope much more. Working internationally to ensure global solutions for a global resource, and other measures from training, awareness to standardization programs. And with all those measures, we can ensure that cloud happens not to Europe, but with Europe. I'm absolutely inspired, and I'm certain that we, in our cooperation, that with a fruitful cooperation, we can indeed show to the European citizen that we will manage this and that it will be close to them and close to the businesses. Thank you very much for your invitation. Pilar, if I had a glass, I would raise it on Parliament and on our cooperation.
Excellent. Just a moment, just a moment. 2 seconds for that. Yeah, but you get one immediately. Well, yes. Yeah, I need one. Yeah. Then we can. Yeah. It's black and red. Red and white. Okay.